Dad Bros. Dad Bros. Dad Bros. Dad Bros. Dad Bros. Dad Bros.
What's up, everybody? Dad Bros episode 2. Here we go. Mike Baker, my dad bro for life. How's it going this week, brother?
Oh, you know, man, we're living the dream as always, week in and week out. That's what we do, ready to talk some wrestling.
Yeah, man. Been a huge week of wrestling, both personally and actually on the show. Lots to talk about, but I think we need to get right into the very first thing. So Mike was online on Twitter poking around and found something very interesting, a Royal Rumble leak. Just put it up on the screen, Mike. I don't know if you have it in front of you right now, but this is insane.
Yeah, if this is true, and obviously we know WWE, I mean, things can obviously change, especially since it was leaked, and if it's a true leak,
right,
they're gonna change something. But I mean, looking at the names on the roster, I mean, you see Rollins number one entrant, and you know, and you have Riddle, Theory, Mysterio, nothing too crazy. But then you see Matt Cardona come out there. And for those that, you know, remember back in the day, Matt Cardona, that's Zack Ryder. So,
yeah,
you know, are we going to get some, you know, obviously he's going by Matt now, but, you know, are we going to get some Zack Ryder again? You know it type of stuff going on. But that's not all. I mean, we also have, I mean, looking on this list, you know, you have Jay White. Probably not so surprising as he'd probably enter anyway, but John Cena, I still maintain that he needs to enter the Royal Rumble not as John Cena but as Peacemaker, because that would be phenomenal if you heard the Peacemaker music and it was John Cena coming out as Peacemaker. Taste it. But then you have Cody Rhodes, which is, you know, something we talked about last week, as you know, predicting him being the potential Royal Rumble winner to go into WrestleMania. And then you go down to the list and you've got Brock Lesnar at number 30, but that's not all. We look all the way at the bottom, and what's it say there at the bottom?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. CM Punk was originally going to enter as entrant number 30. However, he was attacked by Brock Lesnar with 3 F5s and was unable to participate. The first thing that jumped out to me when I read that line was it's one of two scenarios. Either, you know, they've signed Punk and it, you know, that was going to be his coming out party, and him getting his ass kicked and not getting to be in the Rumble as coming back party is kind of his penance, right? Or number two, the WWE is just blowing smoke and taking a secret shot at CM Punk because, you know, he's kind of an asshole. As awesome as he is, he's an asshole.
And that's the thing about, you know, CM Punk always, to me, has always blurred the lines of work and shoot.
Yes.
Always. You never really know. Like, I still kind of wonder if the stuff with AEW is a little bit of a work combined with a shoot. And maybe he's been injured. Maybe he really does want out of his contract. Maybe he doesn't like how things are played around there because he was told he would come in and be the top dog, and you know he's not. And who knows? Or maybe he's grown up. He's realized the errors of his ways, because a lot of, you know, hotheads do. I mean, even Stone Cold left because he was angry at the company back in 2002, and then came back eventually in that GM type role. So, I mean, I never say never. I mean, and that's always been the story of the business. Never say never. So we'll see what happens. You know, when that time comes, we've got a couple months. But if this leak is anywhere close to being true or close to coming true, I think it's going to be a pretty awesome Royal Rumble. But we've got time to decide. But I think that it's pretty awesome as far as what's kind of coming out.
Pretty insane. And the crazy thing is, you know, you look at what Cody Rhodes eliminates. and it's John Cena and it's Randy Orton. So 2 legends, but there's one name that stands out on the list that I think what they're doing is setting up for after Cody wins the title, basically the next rivalry, and that's Seth Rollins. Seth will probably drop the title to Austin Theory in the near future, and we'll talk about that more later, but I think that opens him up to, at that point, wrestle. It might be a WrestleMania. He drops it to Theory, and then now all of a sudden he is Cody's biggest challenger at that point. You know, I'm just taking a guess based off this list, and like you said, this list is hearsay. It may not even be a real leak, and they may call audible after this leak hit, but this is crazy for me to see.
Yeah, it's really crazy to see, and I mean, just kind of, I hope that a lot of it is true as far as the entrants that show up. I hope that the winner's true. I hope that I'm a CM Punk fanboy, so
Right.
I think that I hope that he's in play somehow. You know, it doesn't have to go down the way it goes down, but I hope that he's in play somehow. You know, him getting F5 by Brock Lesnar and having a CM Punk Brock Lesnar main event at WrestleMania to start off a rivalry between those two.
That's a good one too.
It would be fun. I mean, because you have, you know, an obvious underdog in CM Punk size wise, but he's way more talented in the ring than Brock Lesnar is from a wrestling standpoint.
I think it almost presents Triple H versus Undertaker type of thing from back in the Attitude Era, where it's someone who's more cerebral and technical versus someone who's just a brute strength, or maybe even better would be Triple H Kane, because Kane was, you know, although he was athletic, he wasn't as athletic as Mark was, but he was a brute. He was an absolute brute, and there were some great Triple H Kane matches back in the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can even say Shawn Michaels, Undertaker.
Yeah.
You know, the athlete
Likewise.
versus the monster type of deal. That's something that's always a fun matchup to see when played out right. And I think both of them know how to work. Both of them, you know, they both had the same stigma attached to them of being just hotheads behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting to see a rivalry between those
might
two.
break
A
into some
legitimate
real-life
rivalry.
dramas, like some real life, like we saw Seth Rollins and Riddle fight in the parking lot. It might be real, or with Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, if that were to ever come to fruition. And then again, it could just be the WWE blowing smoke, and there was absolutely no talks with CM Punk. That is not something that it would surprise me that Triple H would do, just to slap him in the face. But if it's good for business, you know, Triple H is going to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Triple H is definitely has the same mindset as Vince always had, is, you know, what's good for business, what brings the money in, what keeps the people watching. And that's, you know, you're gonna, regardless of who, bad blood or anything like that. I mean, if it's best for business, it's best for business. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, this is crazy, man. I hope, like I said, I hope at least for nothing else that the winner is true, that even if they do shake things up or this is fake, that we see Cody in the future, because, man, that would be pretty outstanding. All right, we're going to move on to the next segment. This is going to be one of our rotating segments. Mike is concerned about his abilities here, but we are going to do a segment called Name That Wrestler. So basically what we've done here is I have picked 5 different wrestlers. Mike's going to have 60 seconds to guess the wrestler. Now, as soon as the clock starts, he will just blurt out names. He can also ask whatever yes or no questions he's needed within the time frame. When time expires, he'll get one last question and one last guess. I will tell you that there are no, like, Japanese crazy wrestlers. These are WWE main roster wrestlers. Now, they span all generations, right? You know, I'm not going back to black and white days, but, you know, 80s on, we'll say, right? Especially since our love for wrestling and our mutual love for wrestling and something we've bonded over has really been the Attitude Era with both of our families going back and watching it from day one, and now we've moved on into the Ruthless Aggression as far as we're watching. But anything 80s on essentially is what we're going to be doing. So Mike, wait. Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
Let's get ready.
All right, man. we're gonna get right to it. So the timer is on. Now, for you folks watching the video, you're gonna see the wrestler, but Mike does not see it. So it's not gonna be exposed until he gets it right and I tell him he got it right, or time expires or he gets it wrong.
And you don't
he's
want
not
us
going to know who it
exposing
is
ourselves.
I'm exposing myself. We're not going to expose myself to you. Wait. Let's just get back to let's just get back to it. So here is our first wrestler. For those of you watching, for those of you listening, you're just going to have to wait as long as Mike does. All right. I'm going to start the clock and I'm going to let you know when it's go time. And go.
Wrestle in the 90s.
Yeah, late.
2000s?
Yes.
2010s.
On and off.
Held a world title in the 90s.
Yes.
U.S. title or Intercontinental Championship in the 90s?
Not in the 90s.
Did they ever wrestle WCW?
Not to my knowledge.
TNA?
Yes.
So 90s TNA. Were they a part of a faction?
I'm going to give you a little hint here. Tag team.
Tag team in the 90s?
Never truly a faction. Maybe at introduction. Yeah, tag team 90s. Late.
Never truly a faction. Tag team 90s. Late.
5 seconds.
Never a faction. What about 2010s? Tag team in 2010s or 2000s?
Occasionally. It's not going to help you, though. All right, you got one guess, man. What do you got?
Late 90s tag team. Jeff Hardy.
Holy shit, you got it. Wow. And you were worried. Yes, Jeff Hardy is wrestler number 1. Well done. I don't. There was a part in the middle where I thought you were going to nail it early, and then you just went off on a complete different tangent. So, well done, sir, for wrestler number 1. All right, let's move on to wrestler number 2. I think this one's going to be a little bit tougher. I am divulging the wrestler now to our audience, and I will let you know when to begin. And go.
Wrestled in the 80s.
I believe so. Late 80s, at least.
90s.
Oh, yeah.
Did they ever wrestle WCW?
Yes.
Part of a faction in WCW?
Yes.
They were NWO?
Not to my remembrance, no.
No NWO, but ECW. Did they wrestle
No.
ECW? No. Late 80s. World champion?
I believe so. Yes.
World champion in WWE?
Yes.
WCW?
I don't believe so.
You said no. Did you say no to a tag team?
Participated in a tag team. Believe they held the titles like sporadically, but never like the Hardys or something like that.
Okay. Late 80s.
5 seconds.
90s. I'm thinking wrestlers, late 80s, 90s.
I'm going to give you one clue that doesn't really open like specific possibilities, but it narrows down at least about half of the crowd. This person is no longer with us.
Oh.
Part of maybe one of the biggest factions pre-Attitude Era rolling into the Attitude Era in the WWF.
Owen Hart.
Close, man. It is Davey Boy, the British Bulldog.
British Bulldog.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember if he held a title in his WCW time. I never really followed WCW that much, minus I would check in every now and then during the Monday Night Wars. But yeah, and I don't even remember.
I don't remember him holding the world title. Yeah, the world tag titles. I should have been more specific.
He was Intercontinental champ a lot, right? So
yeah, I was thinking like WWE titles and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
don't remember if he held like the heavyweight.
I can't remember either, and I got his wiki pulled up, but I couldn't get to championships fast enough.
Nope, no worries.
It says that he was only intercontinental and European at least.
I didn't think he held
and tag. He held those three. In WWE now.
In Hart Dynasty
in
is
Japan,
the faction.
he was a champion. Yeah, Hart Dynasty was the faction. Absolutely. All right, 1 for 2 so far. All right, so we're gonna go to number 3 on the screen for those of you watching. And Mike, go.
Wrestle 90s,
No.
2010s,
Yes.
2000s,
I believe so. Yes. Late.
late 2000s. Part of a faction.
On and off.
Ever hold world title.
Yes.
Tag titles.
Not to my knowledge.
Ooh, I'm not thinking right questions right now. The whole world title. Have you wrestled for any other promotion besides WWE? Ring of Honor.
No, not to my knowledge.
No, always WWE.
Almost, but never happened.
Oh, almost. World. Oh my God, I'm losing my questions. So 2000s, 2010 singles
your time
wrestlers.
just ended. I'm going to give you an extra 10 seconds here because you haven't gotten some good questions off.
I know. I'm losing my train of thought.
Let me give you a
Intercontinental title.
I don't believe so. So here's a couple hints for you. The factions that he has been in have been because of him, right? And number 2, I'm freaking out, man. It's he's one of the best out there, so I'm glad he didn't go to another Fed.
Oh, Bray Wyatt.
You got it.
Yeah,
Nice.
there you go.
Nice. Yeah, the hints got you over, probably especially. The
Yeah,
second one,
yeah.
but,
That last one was a giveaway for me because you said because of him. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Wyatt family.
I'll get better at
well,
being better.
NXT. I should have guessed NXT. I keep leaving them out.
Yeah,
So
when you ask about other promotions and they're an NXT guy, like I don't recall Bray, and no, Brock is not one of the last two. Just so you know, good try.
As Husky Harris, he was Husky Harris.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
in NXT. Yeah, right.
But
So.
yeah, but he because he was on the season 1 of NXT as Husky Harris when they first came over and was the Nexus and everything.
That's right, and I didn't really watch at that point in time. That was during one of my hiatuses from the wrestling world. All right, next one up. We got 2 more to go. This is a fun one. Mike, get going.
Wrestle in the 90s.
No.
2000s.
Yes.
2010s.
Yes.
2020s now.
Yes.
Currently wrestling. Currently active.
Yes.
Whole world title.
Yes.
United States title.
Yes.
Grand Slam champion.
Yes.
They hold Randy Orton.
No.
Oh.
25 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Part of a faction.
I'm gonna say no. He's been
Tag team.
Yeah.
Tag team champs.
Still, more famous as a solo. 10 seconds.
Whole world titles. Whole world tag titles.
I can't remember. I think yes, but not for long.
Did he hold the spinner belt?
No.
Okay.
Time's up.
It's
One more
2010.
question, one more guess.
Oh, I don't have another question. One more guess. No.
Do you want a hint?
No, give me a second.
Okay.
You said 2000s, 2010s, and current, and they're actively wrestling right now.
Yes.
And they're actively wrestling in WWE.
Yes.
The Miz.
You got it, dude. Holy
Oh my God.
Wow, 3 out of 4 so far. Oh my God, I'm gonna suck at this. It's gonna be so awful, dude. There's no way I'd have gotten 1 out of 4 yet.
Didn't the Miz wrestle in the 2000s though?
I think it was like 09?
Yeah, it was early. Yeah, he did wrestle.
Hang on,
because
I'll tell you.
season 2 or season 3 of
He was on Tough Enough in 2004.
Yeah, that's what
he started on the main roster in 2006, according to Wikipedia.
Yes. Yeah.
So he was in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
but
right.
You said 2000, so I lost my when I asked that I was thinking you didn't for some reason, but
I'm sure as far as quick fire as we're doing these, some of these are kind of starting to bleed together a little bit too. I imagine is happening a little. All right, on to last but not least. Now this one, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't know a lot, so I'm gonna have the wiki up while I'm there, and I'm gonna do the best I can to answer. This one's gonna be tough. Even if I did know, I think this one would be a tough one. On screen for the audience, and Mike, go.
Wrestle in the 80s.
Yes.
90s.
Yes.
2000s.
Sporadically.
Wrestle WCW.
Yes.
Did they ever hold the big gold belt?
I'm gonna say yes, but don't use that as a determining factor.
Okay. Did they hold the world title in WWE?
Yes.
Tag teams.
Not to my knowledge, and not after a quick look.
So any part of a faction in WWE?
Essentially, yes, but
Intercontinental title. Intercontinental title.
Yes.
And they wrestled in They wrestled in the 80s, you said?
Yes.
And the 90s and 2000s. Not are they still alive?
No. And the 70s. 5 seconds.
Oh, they wrestled 70s. And they held the world title?
Yes.
World title in the 90s.
It doesn't say.
80s?
I apologize. It doesn't have a specific date.
Okay.
For the date.
Wrestled WWE in the 90s.
Yes.
Did they wrestle WCW in the 90s?
Yes. Your time is way up. We need a guess.
Oh, okay.
I can give you a hint if you'd like.
No. The Macho Man, Randy Savage.
You're in the neighborhood, brother. It is Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. So close.
Roddy Piper.
So close, man. Yeah, the hint I was going to give you is there's a current wrestler. I wasn't going to say female.
Yeah.
I was going to give it away. Who mimics their shtick to a certain degree. So
yeah.
So name that wrestler, man. I hope you guys liked it. Mike, great job. 3 out of 5. Gotta be honest with you. That's pretty effing good, man.
I'm pleased with myself. So let's see the next episode if I can at least get you on these questions.
Oof.
So.
God, I don't. Yeah. Yeah. We'll do it again soon. Definitely a fun segment, and be looking forward to seeing comments and thoughts on how Mike did there. All right. So up next. This is what until the leak came out. This was the biggest segment that we had lined up for today. So I'm really excited to do this, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is an Attitude Era Draft. So occasionally here on the Dad Bro Show, we are going to do a draft. Today we've chosen the Attitude Era, just like we said earlier. That's kind of both of our favorite eras, as well as probably most of you, to be honest with you. And if you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for you. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a draft of 5 players each. So you see Team Myles and Team Mike up there. I'm going to do my best to update these as we go. Bear with me. I've never tried to do something like this live on the air before. I'm probably a moron for not doing post-edit, but I'm also lazy. So we're going to try to do it live. So at the end of the draft, we will go each 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5, and we will make a joint decision on who would win quickly a match between those 2, right? And then who ultimately wins that draft. We call that draft faction wars. So we'll do the draft first. Now, In order to decide who goes first, I have a coin here. If you see it here, there's heads and there's tails. Now, all cards on the table, I'm not great at coin flipping, and I'm kind of in a really compact space here. So we'll see how well this goes. But Mike, call it in the air. Ready?
Tails never fails.
Oh, see, I told you. I already suck. We're going to do it again. You going to stay there?
Tails never fails.
All right. It is tails. So I cheated myself there. It's probably heads the first time, but, 50-50 odds and whatnot. But then again, I could hit 1 out of 10 and 50-50 odds if we're talking about pack odds on MLB The Show.
I think that's everybody on that one.
Oh, my God. It's so horrible. It's so bad. All right. So the draft is going to start with Team Mike. We'll get the first selection of the draft. Now, let me ask you this, Mike, and I should have asked before we determine this, but I'm going to leave this decision up to you. Do you want to do a snaking draft where we go 1, 2, 2, 1, or do you want to just go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 through the whole thing?
Just one, two. I go, you go.
Okay. Sounds good. All righty. So, Mike, who is your first pick?
Shawn Michaels. The Heartbreak Kid.
HBK. Breaking my heart a little bit there, Mike. You're breaking,
I know you're
my
going.
balls. You're breaking my balls.
I almost took who I think you're gonna go, but I didn't. I got to go with the Heartbreak Kid.
What is going
the
on?
Showstopper.
Hang on. Why is it? We got to figure out why this isn't showing up here. HBK. Maybe I need to get this up here. Well, I apologize, guys. Hopefully I'll get this figured out in just a second. There we go. We got it. So HBK is the first draft choice. All right. So my first draft choice, and I think you've kind of given me no choice by calling me out here, is my favorite wrestler of all time. And it was tough between him and one other guy who I won't divulge, just in the event that maybe you don't take him. But my first pick is going to be The Undertaker, the dead man himself.
I'll be honest. I didn't know you were going to go that route. Undertaker.
You didn't think I was going to go Undertaker, man?
But Attitude
We'll argue
Era,
it out in a minute. We'll argue it out. We'll argue it out in a minute. Let's just stick to the draft.
All right.
Stick to the plan. We talk too much, Mike. That's why we're doing this fucking show. We
All
talk
right,
too much. All right. So what?
The Rock.
Here. The Rock. Going for
The
the
Rock.
Rock. The Rock says is number 2. All right. Let me get that up on the board here.
And I know you smell what I'm cooking here.
I smell what you're cooking. I do. That's a really good one. I personally probably would have went this way anyway. But given the fact that you are going with The Rock, I'm going to go with who I was conflicted with for my other number 1 draft pick. So I guess I would have surprised you either way. That is the man, the myth, the legend, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
See, I figured you were going to go number 1 with Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah?
I thought you were going to go number 1 with Stone Cold instead of The Undertaker, just, Attitude Era and everything. But, all right, number two. I mean,
Hang
we'll
on
see.
1 second here. Let me get this up on the board. So Stone Cold is up there. All right, Mike, your third pick, sir.
Triple H.
You motherfucker. That was mine.
I knew I was going to get one.
Yeah, you definitely stole one from me there. I might have to take a second to reconsider my strategy at this point. You know what? I think I'm going to make the first shocking pick of the WWE, or F technically, Attitude Era Draft. I am going to go with Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
No, that was my next on the draft board.
Have a nice day.
I thought you were gonna give me DX and the Rock and Sock connection because that was my next on the board.
No, plus I had to be able to do my Mick Foley impersonation, man. I've been holding on to that one for an episode and a half now.
Oh my God!
All right, number 4. Where you going, brother?
God, I don't even know now. Because you know what? It doesn't matter where I'm going because I'm going Chris Jericho.
Ooh, that one didn't even hit my radar, which is surprising because I love Attitude Era Chris Jericho. I think it's probably because we're in the era where Chris Jericho is awful, to be honest with you right now.
I don't like him on AEW. He sucks.
Well, I mean I'm talking about us being in the
yeah.
And aggression era. He's whiny, bitchy little Jericho, kind of like what he is now in AEW, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like him again until really he comes back in the 2010s, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was so amazing when he first came, though, to the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
All right, my 4th pick. I think this is only fitting and it'd be a good matchup. Adam Edge Copeland.
Oh, that was my next on the board, too.
Oh, man. Imagine that we have similar picks here. Seriously, imagine that.
That was my next. All right, so you took Edge from me.
Yep, and you took Triple H from me, and I took Mick Foley from you. So who are you taking from me here? I've got 2 people left on my board right now.
I have 2 as well, and I can't. I'm swapping the 2 choices that I had because I can't, in good consciousness.
After I give my pick, you're gonna have to tell me who the other one was.
I will, but I can't, in good consciousness, give you the Brotherhood of Destruction. So I'm taking Kane.
Oh, very well done, sir. Very well done. He was one of 2 on my board, as well. So Kane is on the board for Team Mike. All right, last but not least is the final pick of the draft. And man, who I was going to pick as the alternate to Kane, because Kane was one of mine. I don't know. So I'm sitting here this would definitely be my pick if we weren't playing matchups, right?
Right.
But because he's got a matchup against Kane, although I will say that I'm pretty sure they had some pretty good matches. And I would definitely love to see a match definitely with both of them in their prime. You know what? I think I've got it locked down the rest of the way, so we're going to go with it. My final pick of the Attitude Era Draft is the man that personifies attitude and extreme all the way, Mr. Jeff Hardy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Going with the lesser of the 2 brothers.
Not in my opinion. Maybe overall competitively and as far as success, and you take the drugs and alcohol out of it, and Jeff Hardy would far surpass Matt. There's not, and I love Matt. That's nothing against Matt. I think Matt's. I love most of his gimmicks, but Jeff is a better wrestler.
I think Matt is the better all around talent, but Jeff is very entertaining in the ring. But when Matt switched it up and started doing the Brother Nero stuff and delete and all, that was it was phenomenal, and I thought that was a great reinvention of himself and his character, and kind of helped him put himself above the Hardy Boys.
Devil's advocate to that, though, Jeff did the exact opposite with the same result. Jeff never changed who he was. Yeah. Jeff Hardy has been Jeff Hardy, minus the minor change in personality when he went from the New Brood to the Hardy Brothers. Right?
Yeah.
There really wasn't a huge shift in personality because they didn't really have much personality in the Brood. They weren't vampires like
they just had Michael Hayes, kind of really promoting them at the time and stuff.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So, I think one of the things that made Jeff stand out is that he really did stick to who he was, and who he was good enough that he didn't have to change that character. The fact that he'd come out and jump off of 25-foot ladders through 3 tables or more recently off of the girder of a fucking warehouse. Like the dude
Right.
has a screw loose. And it's also kind of a combo. It's sad because he's not going to have a great quality of life as he gets older. I mean, I'm sure he's already seeing it between that and the
I'm
illicit
sure
drug use he had.
Yeah.
Has.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully he's done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta tell you though, I had Kurt Angle on my list. That's who I was gonna go with.
I came really close when I was sitting here thinking who would match up against Kane. Kurt Angle came to mind. But, man, I would sure love to see a Jeff Hardy-Kane match because the Jeff Hardy-Taker matches were great, too. Hardy always played, it's kind of like we were talking earlier. He always played bigger than his size, just like HBK.
Yeah.
He was a more extreme version, less charismatic version of Shawn Michaels, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's match it up. A few of these are going to be tough and might have to come down to said coin flip again. Let's start out. Let's go from the bottom to the top. Let's end with our number one draft picks. So Jeff Hardy versus Kane. Who wins and why, Mike?
Honestly, I mean, Jeff Hardy versus Kane. I mean, at the end of the day, Attitude Era, Kane is taking that match. I'm sorry. Like, Jeff Hardy is going to do some flips. He's going to jump. He's going to do everything. But next thing you know, he's going to hit a swanton bomb, but right into a choke slam. Like he's gonna choke slam the shit out of Kane, or Kane. Jeff Hardy's gonna get choke slammed.
Yeah, he's gonna get choke slammed by Kane.
And yes, and then convert into a tombstone, and it's just it's over for Jeff at that sense. In that sense.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Hardy comes out and tries to help because it's probably a no DQ match of some sort. And from under the ring comes the Undertaker, and he choke slams Matt Hardy to hell, and then watches his brother get the 1, 2, 3.
Because he can't fight his brother because he'll be too much of a pussy.
Yeah, absolutely. Why aren't we writing? No. So on this one, I think it'd be a hell of a match. Yeah, you're right. Jeff Hardy do a swanton, and either Kane would end up standing and choke slamming him from that, or he'd sit up instead of getting pinned, and then the rest would be history. No coin flip needed here. We agree Kane is the winner of this one. Okay, so next is Edge versus Y2J. Who you got?
Edge, Y2J. I mean, honestly,
in that era.
In that era, Edge in that era. So you don't even have rated R superstar Edge yet.
No, I've got tag team Edge and early singles competition Edge.
He hasn't hit his stride yet because to me, Edge is phenomenal. He doesn't hit his stride really until he's really feuding with John Cena. And this is the kind of the best version of Jericho that we see in the WWE until the 2010s. So I think Jericho, Edge hits Jericho hits a lion saw. Edge hits a couple spears, but I think at the end of the day, Jericho puts him in the lion tamer.
Interesting. Okay, I'm not going to agree with you on this one, so let me see if I can convince you. And if not, we'll go to the coin flip. So I'm obviously taking Edge in this scenario. I think this is the match that catapults him, right? And it also depends on what part of the Attitude Era Chris Jericho we're talking about. Because after he lost the unified title, he turned into a sniveling little bitch. So that Jericho, I think Edge beats hands down easily. But we'll give Jericho the benefit of the doubt here and say it's prime Attitude Era Jericho versus prime Attitude Era Edge. Here's the way I see it. I see a back and forth match. I see probably the Spanish announce table is gonna be Gonzo about halfway through the match.
Right.
They'll bring it in. Jericho will as you say, do a lion salt, and then he's gonna put Jeff in the walls of Jericho. But the problem is that in the process of the lion salt, he kicked the ref in the face, and the ref is down. He's not there to see Edge tap out. Out of nowhere in the crowd, Christian comes out, smacks Jericho in the face with the chair. They get him up, concerto. Christian out of the ring, grabs the other chair. Edge rolls him up just in time for Earl Hebner to roll over. 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Edge.
Oh, you had to break out Chris Jericho, or you had to break out a Christian on me. You know, you're forgetting the co-intercontinental champion at the time, China, coming out and basically bodying Christian before he gets a chance to do anything.
Hey, that's not fair. You already had your argument. This is bullshit, man. I
didn't. I kind of threw that out there. You know, I mean, you got to remember, I've got DX in my faction. I've got Shawn and Triple H. So why wouldn't China be coming up? So
I'm aware that you do, and I'm terrified. But you didn't draft China, did you, bitch?
No, but you didn't draft Christian either. So.
Okay, touche. So anyway, a random stranger with a mask comes out of the crowd and hits the guy in the face. Hits Jericho in the face with the chair, knocks him out of the line. Anyway, did I convince you, or are you still sticking by your?
I'm sticking by Chris Jericho. Y2J.
Heads, tails. Let's see if I can muff this up twice.
Am I supposed to guess?
Yeah, heads or tails.
All right.
Go.
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. Your winner, Chris Jericho. So you're up 2-0, man. I'm up against the wall. I'm up against elimination here. I will still go all the way through either way. This is a tough one for me personally. Yeah, Mick Foley versus Triple H. Who you got?
I love Triple H. I think people want to say Triple H has put wrestlers under, but if you look at his WrestleMania record, I'm pretty positive he's lost more WrestleMania matches than he's actually won. He puts guys over more than people give him credit for.
He actually put Mick Foley over.
And I was going to say that he's the one that really put Mick Foley over. And I think at the end of the day, Mrs. Foley's baby boy wins this one. He breaks out Sacco, and Triple H can't get out of it.
Yep, I'm with you there. I think everybody gets.
It's probably, and it's definitely a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's got to be a Hell in a Cell match. HBK comes out and somehow gets in the cage. He gets Sacco. Triple H breaks out the sledgehammer, takes a swing, connects once or twice because it's Mick Foley, and he's got to get hit by something hard several times in the match.
Hell, my own faction member probably comes out and saves Mick Foley with The Rock.
Probably.
So.
I mean, he always had a soft spot for Mick, even when he hated him. Very similar to the RK Bro thing, which is one of the reasons I love that. All right, we are going way along, and we still have one more segment. So let's get through these last two. They're going to be tough. Right now it's 2-1. Stone Cold versus The Rock. Who you got? Quickly.
I mean, can it be a draw?
Right. Maybe we should just go to the coin flip here, because you're talking about 3 Stunners and 3 Rock Bottoms later, and they're still kicking out. Yeah,
I mean, both of them are the Attitude Era. I mean,
all right, here we go.
Stone Cold and The Rock are the Attitude Era.
Call it in the air. Go.
Heads.
The winner. Dun, 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 dun.
Nice.
Tails never fails. Why did you go away from it, man?
Sometimes you want a little head, okay?
Anybody got any head? What does everybody want? What does everybody need? All right, man. So tied 2-2. That was not intentional, but Cinderella story coming out of nowhere here. This one is maybe the toughest one on the whole thing. If you thought Stone Cold Rock was a toss-up, Undertaker HBK, every time they stepped in the ring, it was one of the greatest matches of all time, hands down. They never disappointed. Who you got, man?
Man, HBK is the epitome of WWF, WWE, but so is The Undertaker.
Yeah. I
mean, they were both Vince's boys for so long, and I think I got to go with The Undertaker here just because of longevity.
Wow.
I think had, as much as I want as much as I'd want to go Shawn Michaels, as much as I love HBK, I gotta go Undertaker just because I always want to know what the Attitude Era would have been had Michaels not gotten hurt.
Oh,
And
jeez.
because
Who
had he
knows?
not
The
had he
sky's
not
the
gotten
limit.
hurt and had to drop the title to Stone Cold at WrestleMania, what could have happened? I
The
mean,
sky's the
that
limit. And how would that have impacted Stone Cold's career too? I mean, he still would have been a top wrestler, but would he
Oh,
have
yeah.
been would he have gotten over the way he ended up getting over? Me personally, I would agree with you. I would have picked The Undertaker here, but because it is 2-2 and I want this to come down to one last coin flip, I'm going to go HBK. Because here's what's going to happen. Obviously, once again, in a Hell in a Cell, what else could happen with the group that you have on except for Kane comes out and rips the damn door off the cage, right? By God,
Yep.
hellfire and brimstone. Undertaker manages to win the battle with Kane and tombstones him in the ring while Shawn Michaels is knocked out in the corner. Next thing you know, here comes the game.
Yep.
The game's going to get him in the back of the head with the sledgehammer. Undertaker's going to turn around and choke slam the game, and as he turns around from choke slamming the game, right on the bottom of the chin, sweet chin
Yep.
music. Shawn Michaels 1, 2, 3.
All
All right. Heads or tails, bud? Call it in the air.
We're gonna go heads again.
I'm going to go heads again.
I'm gonna go
for
heads
the
again. You said
draft.
call an air, but we're doing it now.
For the whole draft, it is. You shouldn't have done it, man. Tails never
Tails
fails.
never fails.
Dong.
That's playing the
Dong.
odds. It's playing the odds.
You played the odds and failed.
It's probably why I haven't been on DraftKings in a little bit.
I'm gonna guess that you got that advice to go tails the first 2 times and win, and then choose your opponent's winner in the middle, then go heads the last 2 times and lose. That probably came from Josh, I'm guessing.
Yeah, most
Not
likely.
Drunk Josh either.
Yeah, definitely wasn't drunk Josh. So
Shout out to Josh, man. We're gonna have him on the show one of these days, I'm sure.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Well, we got one more segment. We're probably going to have to keep it a little shorter than we had originally intended it to be. Hang on one second here. We're taking off some of the wording here. All right, so we're going to head back. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to review the week. It was a great week, in my opinion, on SmackDown on Friday and Raw. Obviously, I got to go to SmackDown. It was an absolute blast. I'm going to show you a couple quick pictures here from SmackDown. Oh, it was so much fun. I can't believe how close we were. We were literally, I mean, here's Drew McIntyre. I'm like 20 feet from Drew McIntyre, and I'm going to be honest.
Screaming like a little girl.
Yeah, when he came out the first time, and he wrestled in the dark match too, I squealed like a little girl. But like, I'm gonna tell you something. Being in the crowd when Roman Reigns first came out, here you can see how close I am to the entrance, and then I'm pretty much right between the entrance and the ring with my wife Megan. But when Roman Reigns came out, dude, the air changed. It was the same-ish feeling, and I know this is crazy to say, but like, I've seen Michael Jordan play live. I watched Peyton Manning play live. There's a certain essence. I got to see Stone Cold, Undertaker, Rock back in the Attitude Era or early Ruthless Aggression era. There's a certain air and a certain feel that you get in the building when these people come in, and this was absolutely no different. It was outstanding.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I mean. I've never been to a live TV taping or a live TV or anything like that show. I've only been to a house show. Back in 2002, I got to see Eddie Guerrero wrestle, which was really cool. At the Holman Center in Terre Haute. So, but what's the difference between being there live and seeing it on TV? Because obviously, seeing it on TV, you get all of the basically the backdrops, when Karrion Kross comes out, it's black and white. It's obviously the stadium's not going black and white when you're there. You're not seeing the gigantic Roman Reigns.
Right. You're not getting the screen effects. You're not getting the holograms and things of that nature, but you're getting pure energy. I mean, the first thing that happens when a wrestler comes out is their screen pops up and then the music starts. And the place goes batshit crazy depending on who it is. You know, the biggest pops of the night were for the Bloodline, obviously. The New Day got a huge pop. I actually have a video of that I'm going to post to the Dad Bros TikTok, hopefully in the next day or two. I've got to format all the videos and everything that I took that night. But it's just it's indescribable to say the differences, because it's just like any other sporting event. Obviously, you don't have play-by-play, and that's super weird. It's really weird when they cut to commercial. Like, sometimes the graphics will change and then the wrestlers just kind of hang out in the ring, or do some little chain wrestling moves, or struggle on the floor in a chokehold for 30, 45 seconds at a time, and it moves real slow. And after you've been to a few shows, because I've been to probably 15 or 20 shows in my life, after you've been to so many shows, eventually you're like, oh, hey, we're on commercial. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a production. The way they treat the fans, you know, you always get more than what you paid for. Like, we came for Smackdown, which aired from 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
There was a dark match before at 7:45 that was between some NXT guys. It was actually one of the better matches of the night, and I thought most of the matches, minus unfortunately the women's matches of the night, were really good. It was a great night of wrestling, great night of action. You know, but it just, the intensity of being there live and just being a part of that crowd and feeling the energy. Nobody sat down for 75% of the show. It was so much fun.
That's awesome. And like I said, I've only been to a house show, so there's no taping at the house show, so you don't really see a commercial or anything. It's
Right.
it's just like, you know, TV in that sense. So that's interesting. And you mentioned the dark matches. I mean, obviously we don't get to see those, but anything that you think is going to play out from dark matches, from the dark match?
Dark matches, for the most part, are just there for the fans' entertainment. The main dark match that we had, so they filmed Salute to the Soldiers afterwards, and there were a couple of matches in that. Ronda Rousey's tag match with Baszler against, I don't even remember. It was a terrible match. Ronda's terrible. But the big dark match after the Salute to Service, or the Soldiers, or whatever they call it, it was a 6-man tag match that was Roman Reigns. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me think about this for a second. I believe it was Roman Reigns and the Usos against Sheamus, one of his dudes in his stable, and Drew McIntyre.
I was going to say, yeah, probably somebody.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if Drew McIntyre was part of that.
It was the best match of the night, man. I mean, and that's not to say the other matches sucked. They put on a show and a half. I'm going to tell you, I've never been a huge Sheamus fan. I think he's great. I think he's funny. I think he's very talented. I love his intro. Obviously, the Celtic side of me absolutely loves his intro. But I've just never been a fan of Sheamus. Don't hate him, don't love him. But my God, he's an entertainer. The man knows how to entertain a crowd during the matches too. And that's another thing. It was really cool, like during tag team matches, or when managers around the stadium or whatever, to see how they interact with the fans that you don't necessarily see on camera. You know, I remember one of the matches I went to a few years ago. Paul Heyman took a little kid's hat and threw it all the way back in the crowd. And then they went to commercial, and he brought him, you know, a Heyman Hustle hat to replace his hat with. But, like, you know, they're not afraid to interact with the fans. And if there's a kid in the front, you know, or someone talking smack, and they can tell, oh, he's not drunk, he's actually just enjoying the show. They interact. You know, these guys who make, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to do this, it's cool to see the connection that they have with the fans in person. You know, and when the cameras go off and they're walking back up the aisle, high-fiving a little girl dressed just like Ronda Rousey, you know, and stuff like that. It's incredible to be a part of.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to go. We need to, you know, all four of us go. The Pineapple Express, as people probably refer to us as. They need to. We all need to go, and I mean, and take the kids too, because I'm sure the kids would have a blast.
We got to
sure.
sit on the floor. I don't think I can sit anywhere.
Right.
So
I'm
save up for this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
I want to be ringside or up against the ramp next time. We were pretty damn close this time.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Let's go ahead and move on to Raw. We're almost to an hour here, guys. And
yeah.
If you're still watching, or you've
segmented
this out, thank you. We're both full of hot air, and we had a lot of fun stuff to do today, and probably should have broke it out into a couple different episodes, but fuck it. Here we are.
What else?
If
Get
you're
you watching
still with
now.
us, thank you. Right. And what else you got to do? You probably should be working. But you know what? Keep this minimized if your boss comes by, and make sure you have your headphones on because we're definitely not safe for work a good portion of the time. All right. So last but not least, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Really good show for kind of right in the middle of two pay-per-views. Usually it gets a little wonky there for a week or so. But a lot of good storylines brewing for War Games and a lot of good storylines brewing beyond War Games. One of the things that I found very intriguing and very entertaining was the Austin Theory heel turn. He comes out in different clothes. He doesn't have the chest piece on anymore. He's got the shorts and the boots, and that's it. Even his hair and his beard look different. They're more heel-esque, right? They're less pretty boy and more like pretty boy heel. But the absolute mental break that he took halfway through that match, and then again when he came back out later in the night against Seth, I absolutely loved what he was doing with the salivation and just the absolute, it's what his character needed.
I mean, you call it a heel turn. I mean, he's already a heel, so I don't necessarily think that. I mean,
Heel-esque.
he was, yeah.
He wasn't
I mean, he
supposed
was
to be. It wasn't by design. It was because everybody fucking hated him because he was a douchebag.
But he's I don't know. He's always been a heel. He's always been that kind of. I don't know. Like, I'm not buying it. I think they repackaged him too soon. I think he needed to be on TV for a little bit. I think utilizing Dolph Ziggler to put him over is unfortunate for Dolph Ziggler because that's a man that deserves way more than what he's ever been given.
Been underutilized his entire career.
Yeah, you know,
but he's done that. He's put so many guys over. Dolph is a company man.
He is a company man, but at what point, when is he going to get his? I feel like he's just constantly being told, oh, it's your turn. And then, you know, he was a champion, and then it was a transitional champion, and that's was it.
That's the price you pay for having ramen noodle for hair for almost a decade.
You know, that's not his fault. He was born with that.
Why doesn't he have it now, then? He dyed it like platinum blonde.
Well, I was thinking of the curliness. I was
trying to get Georgia to watch wrestling just because a dude had ramen on his head. That was a strategy for me.
You know, it wasn't creamy chicken ramen, but
no, that's where we lose.
But I think I was thinking of the curliness, not the color or the shade of it. And fair enough, yeah, he's dyed his hair forever. But at the same time, I just think that I think using Dolph Ziggler to get him over was unfortunate, and I'm not buying this repackaging yet. I think it was too soon. I think I don't like it. I think it's stale. I
really.
I just think he should have been off TV for a little bit. And maybe that's just me, because I did say last week that he's going to be off TV, and maybe I'm just mad that he wasn't. Yeah, but at the same time, I just don't. I'm not buying it yet, because I think there's so much more going on.
I think they meant to keep him off of TV originally, and then the result in all the tweets and all of the chatter out there that was like, Theory's done. We're never going to see him for a while. And I think Triple H went, bet me, fast forward. That's what I think happened. And I think there's a place. I think, like I said, I think they're brewing, for him to take the title from Seth Rollins in time for Seth Rollins to be freed up to challenge Cody Rhodes as the new WWE champion after WrestleMania.
As much as I love
5 months, 6 months away right now.
As much as I love Seth, though, I don't need to see Cody Seth number 4. Like I don't need to see the fourth one.
I will see it for a title. There's something on the line there, and Seth will win the first match, and then Cody would probably win the rematch if there was one. I think that there's a market for it, and they put on such a good show, and the last one was a great show with Cody Rhodes at 50%.
Yeah, and I'm not dogging the fact that they can put on a good show. I just don't think that we need to see it. I think Cody needs to be, he needs to be wrestling more, have different opponents, and I don't think Seth needs to be that opponent. I think Seth needs to continue on with his feud with Bobby Lashley. I think there's stuff to be said about it. I mean, and it's hard because I'm trying to think of Raw superstars right now, and there's really not many that you really want to put out there with a guy like Seth, unless he's going to be putting over Austin Theory, which is another guy that doesn't need to be putting anybody else over. He needs to be continuing to carry that show.
But he's going to. I'm telling you, Theory will be the U.S. champ if not on the Royal Rumble.
Oh, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. I hope, because I'm not buying into Theory, and I don't think he's not a bad in-ring talent. I think he's a good in-ring talent. I just think that I can't stand his character. I don't like him.
Up until Monday, I couldn't either, to be honest with you. I absolutely hated him, but and maybe it's comparative because he sucked so bad before. It's like the ugly chick that puts on some makeup and she's remotely attractive, but because she looks so much better than she did without makeup, she's hot.
Yeah.
Or the dude that's an ugly dude but grows a beard and all of a sudden he's a good-looking dude.
I mean, you don't have to attack me like that, man.
That would insinuate that you're good-looking with a beard.
That is true.
I digress. I like what they're doing with them. I really do. Anything else?
I disagree. I disagree. I mean, I was just saying I disagree, but time's gonna tell on that, and I think. I mean, I think as far as the rest of the show is concerned, I mean, there obviously Seth is great. I mean, I'm not too sure about this Judgment Day OC stuff, but I think it's definitely leading into Survivor Series. I love Finn Balor. I love the fact that, that's a guy that needs to be fighting Seth. I mean, I think there's
be a great matchup. Absolutely.
He needs to be that's the feud that needs to be happening no matter what, is because there's obviously a huge backstory there, and they mentioned it on Raw about Finn beating Seth for the first ever Universal title, but Finn getting hurt. They want to blame Seth for that botch in the ring. Whether it was his fault or not, I mean, it's wrestling. Shit happens. But I think that's a guy that needs to be feuding. But it's going to work better if Finn is away from Judgment Day, and they need to squash Judgment Day after Survivor Series. We need to. It needs to go away.
But they won't.
I know.
They will.
I know. And the Miz, Dexter Lumis stuff, it's getting old. It's
already old to me. When they went the pay route, they lost me on that storyline.
I'm done with it. But I do think Miz Gargano will be a good match, though.
It'll be a great match in the ring, but I'm already over the whole thing between them. It was great until they got Gargano involved, to be honest.
And the sad thing is, I have a feeling that they're end up going to do a mixed gender tag between Miz and Maurice and Gargano and whoever his wife is. What is it? Candice LeRae? Is that? I can't remember. I mean,
yeah,
Candice not going to wrestle too much longer, probably. But I like Gargano. I think he's a great wrestler, and he's really good. And I think him and Miz could put on a great match. But I hope they don't end up going the mixed gender route.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see. Next week on the show, we're going to be obviously previewing War Games. I haven't been this excited for a pay-per-view in forever. This is going to be. It's either going to be phenomenal or it's going to be a complete dud. But I have a feeling it's going to be phenomenal. Mike, awesome as always to hang out with you. What do we say at the end of a show?
This is to catch us next time on the same Dad Bro time at the same Dad Bro channel.
All right, that's it for us. We'll see you later, everybody.
Just another